Hi everyone, welcome back to Crochet Rocks. My name's Tracy. In this tutorial I'm going to show you how to make this really cute little snowflake. I'm going to do a right-handed and a left-handed tutorial for this. So just tell you a little bit about it first. It's made with a 3-weight DK yarn and quite a small crochet hook which gives it this firmness. I've also made quite a firm loop at the top, which you don't have to make, but I figured that this would hang nicely on a Christmas tree without having to tie anything on, and I'll show you how I achieved that as well. I've always done that when I need a little tie. It's so much easier than the usual chains. So just a little bit about it then. I've achieved this, as I say, with a 3-weight DK and using a thin crochet hook, but it's still a little floppy. It's not too bad. It will hang there on the tree, but if you wanted to, you could starch it. Now I did make this one as well, which is a little bit looser, as you can see. So you just need to, if you find your tension isn't quite right, then you can just buy a little spray starch and it will be lovely and firm. If you drop down to a 4-ply, which I believe is called a sport weight in the US, just make sure you drop down the hook size as well, and that way it won't be too drapey. So I'm just going to clear this away and get ready, but before I do, just let you know you'll also need darning needle and a pair of scissors. Any scrap yarn will do. I was going to use a sparkly one, but I couldn't locate it. So, you know, this one will do. Any scrap yarn will do. So if you haven't already, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. It's around here somewhere. And the notification bell. And I'll just pause it for a second while I get my bits together and we'll begin. Okay, to begin, we're going to make a slip knot. So I'm going to aim this at beginners. It does look quite complicated, I know, but all of the stitches in this are quite straightforward and I don't see why a beginner can't master that. So I'm going to show you how I was taught to do my slip knot. Just to make a loop and then put the working yarn, this here, through it and pull it, and then you've made your slip knot. No crossing over of fingers. Again, just make a loop, put the yarn behind and through the loop and pull. Simple as that. So I'm going to make it the way I normally would though, because I didn't like the length of that tail. It's a bit wasteful. So we're going to make a chain ring rather than a magic ring, and so all we're going to do is chain 4. So to chain 4, we yarn over and pull through the loop on our hook. That's 1. Yarn over and pull through the loop. That's 2, 3 and 4. Now to make the ring, we're just going to slip stitch into the first of our chain. We'll do that by yarning over and pulling through both loops. So as you can see, we've made this tiny little ring. Now it will grow a little bit. As you can see from the one I've made, the center ring is not small, because once we start working in there, it does grow. So now I'm going to chain 3. And the reason I'm chaining 3 is because I need a height of a treble crochet, which is a UK term, or a double crochet in the US, plus 1 chain. And I always crochet 2 for my treble crochet or my US double. So now I'm going to do a treble crochet, which is a UK treble and a US double, by yarning over and going into the very center of that ring, which is here. Yarn over and pull up a loop. So now I have 3 on my hook. Yarn over and pull through 2. Yarn over and pull through 2. I'm just going to pull out some yarn. And now I'm going to chain 1. Just like I said, this 3 chain was 1 stitch and 1 chain, so each of our stitches is going to have a chain in between. So we're going to do another UK treble or US double, and that's yarn over back into the center of the same loop, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2, and again 1 chain. So as you can see, we're creating a post and a space. So again, I'm going to do the UK treble and 1 chain. And we're going to carry on like this. We want 12 stitches altogether. And this one, remember, counts as 1. So this is our 4th. So I'm going to pause the video and I'm going to carry on until I have 12 stitches. That's 11 of these plus the 2 chain that we started with. And I'll catch up with you once I've done them. Okay, so I've completed all of my stitches and I'm just going to count the posts. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So now I need to do my very last chain and then slip stitch into the second chain of my 3. So there's the first, second and third. So I'm going to slip stitch into this one because remember the last one is the chain space that's in between. So now we've got, it looks like a wheel. So I'm just going to cut off this tail, which I did work over as we went round, so it's not in the way and so it doesn't look confusing. Right, so now I'm going to do 1 chain, but I'm going to cinch it very low. I don't really want it sticking up at all. I just do it to finish off that row. Now I'm going to do, into this stitch, I'm going to make, bear with me a second. Yeah, I'm just going to do a double crochet, which is a UK double, and in the US is a single crochet. So I'm going to just insert my hook, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through both. So now I'm in here. Now what I'm going to do all the way around is chain 4, and then in the very next space, this next gap, I'm going to do another UK double or US single. And that's the repeat all the way around, chain 4, and then into the next space. So you don't really want this to be too loose because you want it to be nice and firm. So try to keep your tension not tight, but snug, I'd say, you know, not willowy. So see that? We're just going in every single space and creating this kind of loop with 4 chain. Into the next one. I'm going to go all the way around. So I'm going to do this last one here, and then I shall pause it and catch up with you when I get back to this one here. Okay, so I've gone all the way around, and this is the one where I've started, and so I'm at my last one. So I'm going to chain 2 at this point, and then I'm going to do a treble crochet, which is a US double, into this very first UK double or US single, which will complete the ring. So that's obviously worth 2 chain, so it's the same. Okay, so now we're going to chain 2 and we're going to start making, I don't like to call them petals, but we're going to start making our sides and each of these little segments. So what we do is into the very next space, this one we created, the 4 chain space, we're going to do 2 UK trebles or US double crochets. Just as before. So now we're going to make a picot. Now I do my picots a little differently to some, and I'm going to chain 3. So I've got 3 chains. Now in that first one, I'm going to insert my hook, yarn over and pull up a loop. So like I've done a UK double or a US single into there, I'm going to yarn over and pull through both. Now I want to secure it to this stitch that I've just made because it's a bit floppy. It's like a hinge. So we don't want it hinged. We want to secure it to this stitch here with a slip stitch. So I'm just going to pull the yarn through there and then through there. So that's now anchored down. So I've done these two UK trebles. I'm going to now do a UK double treble, which in the US is called a treble crochet. And to do that, you yarn around twice, go back into the same space, yarn over and pull up a loop. So you have 4 on the hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through the last 2. And now we're going to do a picot. So again, chain 3, and then insert the hook into the first chain, and yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through both, and again we need to secure that to the top of this stitch. So I'm just going to insert my hook in there, which is not that easy. I'm going to get you in whether you like it or not, and do my slip stitch to just secure that to that stitch. So now we're going to do another one. So we're going to yarn around the hook twice, back in the same space, yarn over and pull up a loop. So we have the 4 on our hook, yarn over, move that out of the way, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2, and again we're going to make our last picot of this, not petal, don't know what to call it, ice petal. We're going to do that picot exactly the same way, and then we're going to just slip stitch into the stitch, if I can get my hook in, and slip stitch it down. So there we are. Now pull these aside slightly if it starts to bunch up, because as we started with 2 normal UK trebles or US doubles, that's what we're going to end with. So we're just going to do 2 in that same space that we have just worked in. We're going to chain 2, and then we're just going to do a slip stitch into this gap to anchor that down. So now this is what it should look like. We've got our picots and our petal. Well, for want of a better word, it's not really a petal, I know. So now we're going to start that process all over again. We're going to chain 2, and then we're going to do our 2 UK trebles, oops daisy, in there. I'm not used to working with small hooks. And now we're going to make our first picot. Whoops. I'm going to secure it to the top of the stitch with a slip stitch. And now we're going to do a double treble, or a treble in the US. And a picot. Which I need to secure with a slip stitch. It's so much easier to do that with a normal treble than it is this one, but I'm in. And now we're going to do another in the same space. Just make sure the loops are not too baggy. You can always give it a little tug. So again, another picot to the last one for this little I don't know what that part of a snowflake is called. So yeah, now I'm going to secure that with a slip stitch. I'm just going to pull those stitches aside slightly and do my last 2 stitches, same as before. And chain 2 and slip stitch into that next space. So now we are doing that all the way around. We are making our side, we're slip stitching into the next space, we're making our side into the next space, not to call it, and then we're slip stitching into this one, so this one will have our I'm going to call them ice petals. Then this one will be a slip stitch, ice petal, slip stitch, and so forth all the way around. So I'll do one more with you. Just pull some yarn out. But if you get confused or stuck, then just rewind and watch that part again. So 2 chain, my first 2 stitches, nice and straightforward, and a picot. I like this way of making picots because they're nice and chunky and they stand up nice. Right, so just pop that in there, and now we round twice. My hook's getting a little bit. Another picot, getting a bit hot, so it's squeaking. Don't like it squeaking. Okay, so now I'm going to secure that one with a slip stitch, and now I'm going to do another one in that same space. Make sure it's nice and tension's nice, and another picot. And then secure that with a slip stitch, pull it over slightly, and 2 more stitches to end off. And just as we started, 2 chain, and into the very next one a slip stitch, and we're going to carry on and do that to the other, like make another 3. So that's half of our snowflake. So we've got to this stage. So I'm just going to carry on now and go all the way around, and I'll catch up with you when I get back to the very last one, because you should know how to do these by now, and I will see you again in a moment. Okay, so I've got all the way round, and just pulling out some yarn. Not that I need very much now, but because we're almost ended. So what we do now to end off is to do 2 chain and slip stitch, just like this one. Slip stitch into the center of where our first 2 come out for this first stitch here. I think it was a treble crochet, but we slip stitch into there, and now it is completely symmetrical. And this is where we make this part. So as you can see, it's quite puckered, this one. You would probably need to starch it if you didn't make it with sturdy yarn. So how I do that, and I've always done this, just pull that so that has disappeared there, that little line. So I do a normal chain, and then I pull it down. This hook does not want to do that. Other hooks work so much better than this one, cinching it down. I'll maybe go upwards, but you can see it really pulls that chain down and makes it tiny, and that's what you need to just make it tiny. It's not the best hook to do this with. Obviously I used a different hook to make the others, but just like you would expect when you need it, I couldn't find it, so I'm using this one. But that's it basically. You just keep chaining and pulling it down so it's nice and small, and it makes a kind of cord, and then all you need to do is slip stitch back into the same stitch that you started. Now if you didn't want to make it that way, you don't have to, of course. You could just, I'm just trying to find that. I'll do right into there. You could just make your whatever attachment that you want. If you could make a feature one. You can have bows. You can do all sorts of things. So if you're putting it on a tree, but I just like to make a little cord. So just cinch that, pull it tight, and then all I have to do is cut that one off. This one looks so much nicer because it was a nicer sort of more flowing hook that pulled it down, and so that's it. That's how to make the snowflake. All you need to do then is to kind of pull it into shape. I haven't got a very good tie on this one, but there you are. Just pull it into shape, and if you want to starch it, then you can starch it and just cut off your ends. But I would have made a longer little tail there but there we go. That's it. That's how to make the cute little snowflake. So this will be a right-handed and a left-handed tutorial. I'll put a link at the beginning of them, and at the end for each other. So if you wanted the other one, you'll be able to find it. Thank you for watching. Stay safe, take care, and bye-bye for now.